We've got experts in the field of business reorganization says the process of preventing a business collapse in Africa allows temporary relief from creditors with wider benefits to the workers, the shareholders and others. Now, speaking to me on this aspect of business is Gareth Cremen, partner in charge of business restructuring, rescue and insolvency at Cox Yates. Cremen joins me tonight from Johannesburg. Great to have you on the show tonight, sir, from Joburg.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, let's start with, when we talk about business or financial distress, what are the telltale signs, my friend, if a business or a company is in trouble?
So look, typically financial distress is when a company is unable to pay its debts in the ordinary course of business. It effectively finds itself with the back against the wall. The red flags that you typically see for a company that is in financial distress range from mounting debt to shrinkage in cash flow to loss of employees over a period in time. Those are only some of the telltale signs that you look at when a company is in financial distress, and generally your inability to pay creditors during the normal course. In simple terms, the business is running out of a lifeline and it is running out of oxygen and it's bleeding money in every corner possible. And that's typically the companies that you see when they are in financial distress.
So if a business is failing, what are the options if a business is failing or struggling before the door closes and it's all over?
You know, it's a good question because a lot of companies and a lot of the directors are always in a state of denial about the true state of affairs. And they always work on the assumption that we're going to land a big contract, we've got a big tender coming in, we've got pipeline work and work has been promised and it never gets there. And to a large extent, they need to reflect inwards and say, how can we fix the business? And there's typically three routes one can go. The option, which is the most severe of the lot, is to liquidate the company, wind up the affairs on the basis that it's insolvent. It's not an ideal outcome because it amounts in loss of jobs and creditors sometimes don't get anything out of the process. The second option is to consider filing for administration or business rescue equivalent, depending upon the jurisdiction that you are based or that you are in, which is a great outcome because ultimately it gives a lifeline. It's a formal legal process that a company can embark upon. It effectively puts in an administrator or a business rescue practitioner into the control or the helm of the company to formulate a turnaround plan or a business rescue plan for the company. The last route, which is typically the first route you should embark upon, is what is called an informal workout or a restructuring. And this is done way before business rescue or before a liquidation. And effectively, the company tries to embark upon the process of doing an informal workout. They can do it with a certain class of creditors, or they can do it with all of their creditors, and to try to reach a compromise or a restructuring of their debt outside of a formal business rescue or outside of a liquidation process.
So when we talk about business rescue, is it common in sub-Saharan Africa? I know that South Africa has got a very some legislation around that to ensure that businesses don't just collapse and just fold up. What does it look like?
Yeah, look, certainly from a perspective, remember South Africa was the champion behind business rescue, which commenced in 2011. We've seen a number of other countries around and various other jurisdictions follow suit. We've seen similar processes unfold recently in Zimbabwe. Ghana has recently changed its insolvency laws. So we are seeing other jurisdictions follow the route and adopting similar mechanisms to business rescue. There is a large push in Africa, and it's a big favorite for international corporates, is the informal workout, the restructuring space, and to appoint what is known as a chief restructuring officer inside of a company to do an informal workout outside of the business rescue regime.
So what advice would you give to a business owner, Gareth, who feels that the walls are closing in and where's the escape route? What advice? Tell me.
The difficulty with most businesses is that, they, as I said a little bit earlier, they live in a state of denial, and it's a very good question. So when you look at it from a company perspective, what should we be doing? You should be taking independent advice, doing a hard assessment on your business and saying, where are we bleeding? How do we fix the business? And if you can't answer the question yourself, you will have to get external advice, get independent advice to come in and give you an independent view, not a biased view in terms of the company. And consider taking steps far sooner. There's unfortunately, to a large extent, a lack of education around business rescue and informal workouts. And the stigma that's attached is if I seek advice to help me do a workout or a restructuring, I must be failing at my job, which is wrong because market conditions change all the time. We've seen the life of international companies fold. Recently, you would have seen Tupperware internationally. That went under, and that's been around since time immemorial. Over there, Kodak, another one that died, they didn't keep up with the times. So the unfortunate part is, from company perspective, is they should be seeking professional guidance, which is something we assist with greatly with our team, and we can point people in the right direction and obviously resuscitate. The great thing about a business restructuring or a business rescue or an administration equivalent is it's a fantastic vehicle if used for the right purposes. It allows one, company to grow, two, retain jobs, and allow the company to restructure its affairs to restore itself back to its former glory. We're also seeing in the African continent a large amount of mergers and acquisitions taking place through the mechanisms of a workout, a restructuring, or a business rescue, because you have full transparency to your liabilities, to creditors, etc. So it's a phenomenal vehicle if used properly and at the right time.
All right, it's great chatting with you tonight and sharing your insights into the business of business rescue in Africa. Thank you so much, Gareth Cremen.